Today we're with Kevin, and Kevin works in operations, managing volunteers, and today we're doing an interview. And I was just really curious about what kind of questions people who work within Real Social Dynamics might have for me as the CEO of Real Social Dynamics. And how long have you been working with RSD?
I started officially working in, I would say, January, mid-January, almost finishing up.
So that's been about it's been less than a year, so this is your opportunity to just go at it. Talk to me about anything that I could help clarify.
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot about you in terms of your history, so there were some things that I was also interested in asking you, and meeting you at World Summit just brought the opportunity. So since right now, I guess you can say I'm kind of focused on pickup to a certain extent, but also trying to make income. This kind of comes down to the first one is, did you get everything you wanted from pickup before dropping it completely and focusing on 100% business?
One of the things I think that attracts people to workforce, especially starting off as a volunteer intern. Now you started off as a volunteer intern before you went on payroll, right?
Yeah, I started 3 months on payroll.
And the biggest thing that I think that gets people interested in this is because it gives you a chance to focus and learn more about pickup. Now, most people who get involved with RSD, they work and learn not just about pickup, but also business skills. And it's useful because it allows you to establish a solid business foundation to allow you to afford to do pickup without living in a car or in the street or something like that, you know. And I've had so many ups and downs that I've actually done both, you know. I think that one of the things that we face with this creation of Real Social Dynamics was that Owen and I got into this because we were interested in pickup, not to create a pickup business. We got interested in the concept of just helping other people and learning at the same time. And so when we first created this company, we were doing nothing but pickup for a few years, literally avoiding anything that wasn't related to pickup. That's why I'm so big of a fan of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, because it taught me to balance my life and focus on anything else at all other than pickup. And that was a huge challenge of mine because the game is so much fun, especially as someone like me who didn't have any pickup skills. I was a zero, ground bottom. So when somebody meets someone who has very low skills, I could tell them, I could understand that. I could relate to that. I could understand how this person doesn't have any ability to communicate, talk to people, talk to girls, network, do cold approaches or anything else. Because I was there. You know, I had a sense of general business enthusiasm and general lack of I guess you would say obstacles of wanting me to not get too much of a holdback or fear so that I would ever always experiment. I always had that social experimentation mindset. One of the things that I really got out of pickup was not just from the skills that you would get specifically just talking to girls, but the ability to understand how to communicate on topics that I never thought I'd know anything about. An example would be traveling around the world and the ability to communicate with people from cities from all over the world, or the idea of being able to talk about passions and projects and inspire those kind of ideas. I think that it really helped me become more of a well-rounded person, also to change my confidence, my ability to believe in myself. More importantly, to reference experiences from failures of thousands, if not tens of thousands of random approaches. Yeah. I'd say that is pretty easy, especially since we would do crazy social experiments. I remember one of the things we did is we went to a club called The Government. It's in Toronto, a club that could hold, I think, 10,000 people. And as a social experiment, I went and high-fived every person in the club for 6 hours and then would say something to them, like a funny comment, like, you look like you knew how to party, or we're having a good time tonight. And I would do that until I maybe talked to each person 3 to 8 times. And then they would start a conversation. Maybe we start doing shots or drinks together and just see what happened just from talking to random people. Now, most people don't talk to one person.
Right.
And I don't recommend everyone do this. And so everyone's high-fiving in a club. But that was like a rave environment, an EDM environment, a large festival concert. And just to experiment with random projects like that and see the results. I was always interested in social graces, and those were great things. I would say that the skills that I was focusing on from the beginning are still skills that I'm refining today. I'm always learning more about networking, communications, and it's just not, as opposed to me going out to the bars and clubs, I'm not cold approaching in bars and clubs. I'm networking with people at high-end parties and house parties, events. You know, we're having a huge party here for my birthday, so you could come to that. I think that's going to be, next Saturday or the Saturday after that. And so, yeah, it'll be a chance where you could meet some people in my network, like some of the people you saw me interviewing earlier today with, or who are coming to interview me later today. I've always wanted to have a large social circle as well. Right. And that's helped me in my social life and business life and just my personal development in general.
Would you say there was a correlation between getting into business and how fast RSD was growing, like a sense of urgency, because of the fact that, you know, you noticed the RSD was picking up, so you realized, you know, wow, it's time to make this into a business. But then again, you kind of answered it a little bit on the first one already, because you knew what you wanted to get out of it in the beginning, almost, right?
Well, it was an accident to create RSD, because the goal wasn't to create a business. The goal was just a way to fund our passions so we don't end up homeless while just doing nothing but pickup. And it turned into a business, especially because when I jump into things, I jump into things big. And so one of the ideas we had was to have a house where we could have parties and invite beautiful women and upgrade our lifestyles with pickup. And so I did that with my friends. And it ended up being a very expensive venture. In order to fund the house without having to be bankrupt, I had to create a way to fund the expensive house and any parties or things we wanted to do with it. I think that it wasn't necessarily a sense of urgency, but I believed so much in Tyler, myself, and the team of executives and leaders in RSD when we first created our company, that I knew that we could accomplish anything. Today, Tyler and I are still people that have a very strong belief in each other's skill sets. And I still see that growth that we're continually pushing forward and moving things forward with.
When you were learning how to make RSD a business, did you ever think it was going to grow as big as it is today?
I definitely did, and within our first year.
You did?
I definitely. Within our first year of getting money, it was very easy to see that, because our first weekend in business, we had a dozen people give us $600. And the same the following weekend, the weekend after that, and the weekend after that we had another program, and then suddenly we were in London a week later with 60 people doing the same. And it grew very fast. I mean, our first 12-month calendar year, we definitely did over $1 million in revenue. And I saw that speed of growth so fast that I knew that RSD was going to grow. Now, we still have growth. It isn't like the same kind of growth, where you're multiplying the size of your company and doubling continually again and again and again. Because we had many years of that. But on average, we grow at about 20% year to year, doubling the size of our company every 4 years.
Well, I'm sure you got this one a lot. And that is, like, how tough was it to tell your parents that you were doing something outside the norm? And what would you tell other people going through the same thing right now?
When I was on my 23rd birthday, about to graduate from University of Wisconsin-Madison with an undergrad in economics, they thought that I was going to go back to a different kind of career. I had worked with NASA, I'd worked in Wall Street. My parents asked me, are you going to go to New York, become an investment banker, now that you're graduating? Because that was a passion of mine since I was a teenager. And I told them, well, actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to rent a mansion in the Hollywood Hills, move in with my friends, and teach guys how to pick up girls at bars and clubs by being a wingman with my friends. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tell them what they did right and wrong at the end of the night at after-hour diners and charge $600 per weekend, and then maybe $2,000 for one-on-one programs. And then they looked at each other for about a second and then burst out hysterically laughing, thinking it was all a big joke. that completely changed after I moved into the mansion, and they're talking about cutting me out of the family and things like that. But because RSD became successful, and because I grew up with a family who would always make those claims and do that continually as more of a motivator of trying to push their agenda down me, and then always supporting me on my decisions in the long run, I didn't really take their words with any true seriousness. And so I just continue to push forward, and now they support and believe in the company very firmly because they've seen it grow and they've seen it make money and they've seen it help a lot of people. They actually taught a lot of those programs at the schools that my father owns.
So what can you tell, kids or people that are scared, facing their parents? Maybe they don't have that supportive family.
I have friends and I have family that just create the company, and they don't ask for permission. You don't need it. You're an adult. You can do whatever you want. If you want to get family support, that's important to you, then tell them about what you're doing and why you care about it and how you want to take a shot. The thing is, I think families don't really want their children to usually become entrepreneurs because they themselves may have failed as entrepreneurs. 90% of people who try will fail in the first 1, 2, or 3 years or way less. I think most of them will even fail just in a very few months. It's really hard to create a business that continually makes money. It also requires a lot of work. I mean, when I was first starting, I was working so hard I didn't even take off my clothes when I would go to sleep, nor my shoes. I would just lie down, lie down on the floor, fly on the bed, wake up and get back to work. Because I felt like every second counted. So I was diligently focused on the company. And I still view that I'm just as lethal today when I want to be and need to be. And I surprise people with that, especially since the longer you work in a company, people expect you to be more disengaged.
Was there ever a point in running RSD when you thought it was quote unquote over? Like the scandals, recessions, and stuff like that?
I never saw a point where I believed that RSD was over, because I don't really believe anything's over until it's over. Because I've seen so many impossible things happen. Or at least what people think is impossible. When I tell people that you're doing interactive exercises, I call them mission impossibles, because people think what they think is impossible is actually impossible when it's possible. For example, there was a beautiful girl surrounded by 5 good-looking guys. They think it's impossible that you could walk into a restaurant where they're having dinner and approach that girl and then get her to come outside with you and give you her number or kiss you, and then you end up dating that girl. Yet I've seen that happen. That sounds impossible. So I've seen things like that happen again and again. And so I don't really believe in the impossible. I believe in things that happen. When I see it happen, it happens. I've had tough times. So you mentioned the Julian scandal. There's also been the recession. There's been huge fights between Tyler and I over cash flow and vision and mission. Yet we always work things out, me and Tyler, and it's always continuing to push forward with the goal of helping as many people as we can.
So what do you do when you're not working on RSD related business? I guess free time.
I golf. I play with my cats. I play video games like Hearthstone.
Hearthstone, okay.
It's a Blizzard game. One of the advisors has been Rob Pardo for Real Social Dynamics. He created World of Warcraft, so he got me access to StarCraft, and it got me into Hearthstone and the other things. So I go to BlizzCon every year. It's their big event for video game esports. They also have some of the highest paid tournaments, and I have hosted tournaments or support as a co-host for many tournaments for cash prizes for video games. I love traveling, going to spa with my wife, dinners with my wife, wine festivals, food festivals. I love visiting my family. I hope to visit my family at least once a month. So that's been, my parents, my wife's parents.
Just expanding on the video game thing, because I actually, like any other person who gets into pickup, right, they just are very, not like to go outside too much, or just are immersed in video games. And that was me. That was actually my background. So now that you're saying that, well, at this point, it seems like you're successful. So, and the fact that you still play video games, Where do you fit that time?
Video games is also a community activity that could also get people out of their shell. A lot of people, especially in tournaments, have communities. I mean, you go to conventions, there's tons of people. The thing is, in the same way that most people don't treat a business, like a thing you have to organize, most people don't treat their social life as a business. I used to deliver a speech every year at Summit about how you should treat your business and your social circle both as businesses, and did an analogy about how you have, the people who help organize parties with you, your close friends, your family, your acquaintances, and how in business you have the finance, sales, marketing, all these different departments, and you treat your life like you're the CEO of your own world. That was a speech and presentation that I used to give, and I think it's a great concept. I could totally see help people who are not doing that, because it's organization skills that could lead you to manage the projects in your personal life or what have you. I have a thing called Time Doctor that you use and everyone in the company uses that tracks every hour, every second, every minute, every day, week by week, every metrics. So I could see everyone's what they're doing. I do operations analysis and I look at everyone's what they're doing. And I do it myself. In fact, if you were to log into your timedoctor.com account, you could see everything that I do. And you could see that I work twice as hard and twice as many hours as every single person in the company. I want people to have a role model for that. I also show them our COO's metrics as well, so they could see his very detailed reports. They also see what I do and what everyone in their team does. So if you were to log in, you could see in the online version, not just the phone version, but the online version, what the people in the operations team are doing in operations, marketing teams are in marketing, video teams are in video, etc. I think that's kind of cool. The key is just time management and balance. At the same time, a lot of the people who have been friends of mine I end up working with. I end up doing projects with them or inviting them to join my board if they're a high-level guy, or inviting them to work with us or get more involved with our programs as volunteers and interns. So I end up combining a lot of my time. In fact, a lot of my meetings would be joint. For example, while I play golf, I might be with my attorneys. I might be with my video team doing interviews with me. In fact, I did that for the last 2 days. I played golf with my video team and with guys from my board of advisors. So I think that you can combine a lot of things. I'm really interested in multitasking. I've even done business educational streams while playing video games at the same time.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be watching TV shows like Narcos at the same time doing tax returns and accounting. Those high-functioning tasks, like it's writing some eloquent correspondence or something, or focusing on very difficult metrics. I have to focus just on one thing. But my mind works where I could focus on many things at the same time. Everyone's different, though.
You must have discipline then, because sometimes the video games, I know it keeps you wanting to play more, but you know that you have to stop it or else.
Well, I've spent so much time playing video games. I've definitely been in that addictive phase where my wife has put a letter on my computer asking me to hang out with her. So I've had that. Back in 2008, 2009, I was on a world tour, and right after that world tour of 270 cities, doing the original RSD free tour, I met my wife, and I ended up retiring from RSD for a couple of years. And I was just playing video games. I could see the addiction. I'm not doing that now, but I've been through that phase. And as a result of that, I understand what it is, because after a couple of years of doing that, I decided I want to come back and work, because work really develops purpose in your life. You could play and just have fun, and people think that's what they want to do. And then when they do it, they end up coming back to the workforce. I know people that have sold their companies for billions of dollars, many of them hundreds of millions of dollars. And as a result of what you can do with money, which is really not that different other than what anyone else could do, other than having nicer travel, you really just live in the same way. You might have a nicer house, a nicer car, a nicer plane, or fly higher class, nicer hotels. But other than that, how you spend your time with your friends, the same TV shows, same entertainment, the same chill time, the same restaurants, everything else is the same. Nothing else really changes. And so you need to find purpose. And usually that comes from work and helping society. Our purpose has been to provide awesome content, much of it which is free, to RSD Nation.
If you had a choice, this again is totally not work related. If you had a choice to switch bodies with anyone in the world just for a day, who would it be and why?
Well, I think it would be really cool for a day to switch bodies with Donald Trump and be able to do what I actually want to do, because many of the things that I'd want to do are things that Donald Trump wouldn't want to do. Really? And I think that because I disagree with so many things that Trump is doing, I would love to actually do things that I'd want to do.
Yeah, I gotcha. With the power that he has, you would want to.
With the power that he has.
Gotcha.
Not because I don't want to judge people. You know, if I've never met Trump, and if we were ever to become drinking buddies, I might have a different opinion of him.
Right.
You know, I don't like judging people I haven't met in person. But at the same time, that position, having that kind of power and authority would be amazing. As a long-term plan, though, I'd rather be in the business world. Yeah. I'd rather be contributing to society through making value, creating value through business services and products, especially since I could do that and do that for a longer term than 4 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Or 8.
No doubt. What actually inspired you to create this YouTube channel? I know a little bit about it, but it's great to know from you personally. How did it start? Like, why?
To start, the idea was to create a program called RSD Founders Club, because I wanted to make a launch, influx of money into the company, and I thought one way I could contribute would be to share how we built Real Social Dynamics. And because I used the YouTube channel for marketing that product, I started doing interviews with people. And then I enjoyed it so much, I just thought that I could really build this YouTube channel to reconnect with the powerful friends in my social circle that I haven't really gotten to know on a deep enough level, because I have built a mastermind, a global mastermind of millionaire and billionaire CEOs, best-selling authors, and celebrities that are doing really awesome things, not just influencers in YouTube, but also in the entertainment world. And I want to really reach out to these acquaintances and make them deeper friends, reach out to my friends I've lost touch with and reconnect with them, and share that value as opposed to me just doing one-on-one with other people. So that the time that I'm spending was shared with other people and the value was shared with other people, so it wasn't just a selfish thing, it was something that could add value to the community.
That being said though, now that you mention it, how you created RSD Founders, weren't you afraid though that because you show almost like your blueprint of how you made Real Social Dynamics that you would attract competitors and them kind of reverse engineer what you started and worked so hard for all these years?
Back in 2002 to 2005, RSD was a virgin industry. And I was very concerned about the non-compete of the industry. Now I'm not so much. I mean, I would be more concerned about people trying to compete and stealing assets from our company and then trying to compete with those assets. And that's actually illegal. And we have the legal protections to prevent that from happening. So, I mean, if someone was going to say, try to steal cash and things from our company, we could stop that from happening. People try to do that and they've been stopped. And, you know, I'm continuing building systems to make that stronger. Now, in terms of sharing secrets so people can compete in every city in the world, I've met dozens of one-man companies that are competing against us. And it's interesting because they could help add value to other people. And we could add value, and most of the time our free stuff is better than paid stuff. We've also used the creation of competitors and their ability to teach as a way that we could actually teach other people to actually become RSD instructors. And one of them was RSD Luke. RSD Luke was somebody who was competing with us and now is running Vegas Immersion. And I think that as a result of seeing things like that more recently, that's been a huge change. Recently, Owen and I even got into a conversation where we were talking about how we wanted to create an association similar to how a professional association trains other people in an industry, as an industry leader, about how to be better in an industry, so that we're adding more value to the community overall, not just within RSD Nation, but the entire pickup community, because I care very deeply about the community. And I wanted to find a way where we could make sure that everyone has standards so customers just don't get hurt. Now, we've always been the pioneer, the forefront of things. And we have something in the business world that's called economies of scale, where what we create, for example, if we were going to send 10 people to a city and teach a program, that economy of scale allows us to teach that program with a higher profit margin. and allows us to do larger things. Because if you're an 8-figure company and someone else is a 5-figure business, so a one-man sole proprietorship, or even the next bigger competitor, which would be like a 6-figure company, we're able to do things that they can't do. We're able to, grow, and we could show people how they could be better at their company, and that allows us to also look at potential people we might want to recruit into the fold or potentially create more joint venture partnerships with. So we've been discussing more recently about creating a training program to help us grow our business and help us grow our industry. Because now that our industry is alive and developed after now almost 2 decades of being built, we are going to be needing a lot more people to support this industry. In fact, right now, I'm in a big recruiting frenzy right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get people to come to Las Vegas, incentivizing them with training, with money, with opportunity, with learning. And I'm looking for people that are not interested in, just being a part of us and leaving. I'm interested in the long-term people who want to spend a career working with Real Social Dynamics. And if people were interested, they could go to rsdemployment.com and join.
Right. So I'm curious, now that you brought it up, when is this vision of like the RSD training stuff for any potential recruits, right? Not just for work related, but just to grow the community, the pickup community in general?
Well, we're always doing collaborations. And one of the things that we're doing outside of just this training, because it's something that we're continually working towards always, all the time. You can see us having people even now at night, random people in the industry and outside the industry that might help us grow the industry, ancillary things. I would say we brought in a lot of people from music, from dance, from entertainment, from film, for health and fitness, self-improvement in general. Even earlier today, we had someone who was a pioneer of the self-improvement industry from the original self-improvement company, Mind Dynamics. And it is really cool to learn from each other's histories and also grow. And the ancillary stuff allows us to come up with ideas, such as infotainment, which is the concept of combining entertainment with education to attract more people to what we're doing. It's an advertising thing, but it's also a way to captivate the mind, because when you're in a more creative state or in an environment of learning or an environment where your mind's more excited, you're more likely to think of random ideas. And our goal is to create a tribe where you're continually getting epiphanies. Those ideas that you don't think are possible, realize are possible.
What are your biggest fears in life?
Death is definitely one of them. At the same time, I'll do things like skydiving. I'll go to gun ranges. In fact, one of the things that we're talking about doing to celebrate my birthday is to go to a place in Las Vegas where you shoot rubber bullets at each other's heads because there's a balloon above your head. Now you're wearing a mask that's supposed to protect you. Yeah. So I'm willing to do things that are risque. I would say that I'm very risk adverse, yet at the same time, the fear of not having the right health is a fear. I mean, when in the last, I would say 4 months, I've lost over 50 pounds. And a lot of that was due to seeing a concierge doctor who told me that if I didn't change my diet, I was overweight and I needed to lose weight. Now I'm very, very fit. I'm back in the condition that I was in, the same weight I was when I was in elementary school. And now I'm 5'10", 150. I stuffed my face continually the last 4 months. It's just that it was vegetables, fruits, meats, and I just avoided grain and bread products. And also I avoided sugary desserts and snacks. But that's it. I mean, I would eat even fried chicken. I'd eat barbecue. I'd eat fatty steak. I'd also have lots of vegetables. So I didn't really change and have to lose that desire to eat good food. Nor did I really go to the gym that much. I'd play golf, but I'm usually with my friends and coworkers and drinking beer. I wouldn't drink beer every time. I would maybe have some wine or water, but I was avoiding, just a really, really small amounts of what the typical diet is. Bread and grain products and sugary desserts. It's not that hard. So, I mean, it just surprises me. I can understand how people just have a lack of education and understanding about how easy it is to stay in shape, or the benefits, how much energy and more productive you are. It just is amazing to me.
Would you consider yourself an intense person?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Now, does that come from your friends?
It comes from the fact that I hear it all the time. And also, I know I'm an intense person because I could see it in the faces of people I talk to. I was in a deposition with the opposing legal counsel for a guy who stole a lot from me and has harmed my family. And I remember seeing the intensity of what I was saying back into my deposition and the exhaustion that the other party faced. And I'm not even an attorney yet. So I thought that was pretty amazing. When I'm at my board meetings, my board wants me to focus on having calm, chill conversation and what have you. Just that I get really excited about delivering operational decisions and ideas and brainstorming that I get louder, I talk faster. So I've been focusing a lot on communication styles so that people aren't concerned about bringing up ideas, because I want to incentivize everyone, meritocracy. Yeah. And you bring up ideas, all ideas to me, and then things will happen. I would say I'm definitely intense though, because when I define intense, I'm talking about someone who pushes through with a lot of passion and energy various products and ideas, and I'm definitely that kind of person.
So that would be like a personality thing that has grown with you since you were a kid, or
and a mindset
over time? I
would say it's a belief that it's a belief in what you're doing and how you're doing that, how you're expressing it. It's like I'd say like I have a lot of intensity inside internally. You know, I think that it's about that hustle. A lot of people want to get the magic pill. They don't want to work. They want to basically just spend all their time doing the fun parts of work, like going to fancy dinner parties and events, or traveling, or hanging out with powerful people. And that's the fun stuff, but that's like a cherry on top of a pie. And that pie looks like a nice thing, but that's just there. So just create a pie. But for example, let's say it was a wedding cake, you know, or something like that. You know, it might take all day to create, a lot of work. Putting the cherry on top, you just drop it. It's easy. So I think that intensity is a must for most businesses to survive, because there's so much work that has to get done. But people have to be willing to put it into work. And it's not just saying it, it's actually doing it. And it's a lot of work.
Definitely. But I wanted to know your take on how do you think someone gets good at game fast?
I think the only way to get really good at game fast, and I think I've been in pickup for a very long time. I mean, I started in the pickup world in 2002, and I was teaching programs from 2004 to 2008 on and off. And even 2009, I was teaching seminar. I just wasn't going into the boot camp in the field because I got into relationships. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it's been almost a decade since I've been out of pickup, but I guess for me, it seems like a shorter time because I'm a much older guy now. So I mean, for me, when I say something like 5 years or 10 years, it doesn't seem like a big thing. But for someone like yourself, I guess that seems like a very long time. So I guess field experience is king. You got to go out into the field and practice. So if you learn something and you spend, say, 8 hours learning, you got to spend just as much time in the field and detailing what you're doing and learning and changing and continue critiquing. I mean, if it takes 10,000 hours to master something, your interactions and the social dynamics that you need to learn to get good, that's a lot of time. Fortunately, unlike most skills, the skills in game and pickup are skills you use every day since you were a little kid. Walking up and learning how to start a conversation with someone, the body language, how to communicate with people in your classroom, you know, and on the playground. And then it turns into dating. So, I mean, you're building upon general communication skills in general, and as you get older, no matter who you are, you're going to improve those skills. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a huge advantage we have, as opposed to learning a new skill, like saying shooting a gun or playing golf or something like that.
What's the biggest skill set you've learned that has helped you become a millionaire?
The biggest skill set I think that I've learned, and it's a skill that I'm always going to improve upon, is about how to be a better communicator, a better manager, and someone who's able to manage my own time better. And those are things that are 3 skills that all of us want to learn, because it'll help you whether you're a manager, a business leader, or just in your own personal life. So I've been studying since I was very young a lot of these skills. Most of my lessons, though, have been learned on the job, in the field.
Yeah.
So I've studied a lot of this stuff in school, management leadership seminars. I think that when you're in my position, though, you know, those things are the most important things you got to learn as a general, because it's skills that everyone needs to learn. However, if you want to be successful, there's that 1% to 10% of things that nobody else needs to know how to do. That if you do, you're going to be successful, and the competitors, if they don't know how to do it, will fail. That's a bottom grade thing. But there's certain things in my industry that I talk about that I really know really well, that don't really need to be known from anyone from any other industry. Like specific things I need to know how to work with specific people, for example. Yeah. Like how do I manage the projects and get Tyler to do joint ventures with certain people in my company or external to my company. That's a very unique skill set. So I guess there's also things that also only my company can do, and only someone in my position should know how to do. You know, so it's rare. It's interesting.
Do you have a favorite quote you live by?
Sure. But I think that it's not one quote that comes to mind. Like when someone asks me one quote, I don't want to be known for one particular mantra that's repeated over and over, because it changes over time.
Sure does.
One of the gifts that I gave Tyler for his birthday was a quote that I recently had a lot of favor towards, and I bought him a giant piece of art that said, "Hustle, definition, the only word you ever need to know." And I thought that was a great quote. I hear great quotes all the time.
Do you have a morning ritual to start the day? If so, what is it?
I wake up and I open up 3 cans of wet cat food and give it to each of my 3 cats on a paper plate. I brush my teeth. I log into my online bank accounts and financial accounts, and I will log in Time Doctor and see what everyone's doing for operational and financial analysis, and prepare for a series of meetings I'll have scheduled.
So what if one day you forgot to do the cat food? Is that something that throws off your whole day?
My wife would probably take care of that for me.
So there's not like one thing that gets not done and then it throws your day completely off.
If I don't take care of one task in my life, I usually have backup plans.
Nice.
Fortunately, I have a team. See, the advantage of having a team in a company as opposed to just you is that self-employed people, they will have themselves. So if they don't get it done, nothing gets done. But if I don't get a certain operation done, someone else will do it.
Gotcha.
And I field tested that. They might not do it as well, and things might fall apart if they do it for too long. But it'll get done enough so that things will stay stable.
Well, that's pretty much my questions. I did have one. I was like, teach us how to play golf. I personally never played golf. So maybe one day I'll be lucky to.
And if you want to come play golf sometime, my clubs are right there, and we could go play around. I have a spare set downstairs in my bedroom.
Okay, well, let's meet.
Come down to Vegas.
Let's schedule that. Thank you.
Cheers.